Watkin here with the next ICG webinar. Bite-sized 10-minute pieces helping you, the UK estate agencies, out there with the biggest issues and the biggest problems you have. And today's is what should estate agents be doing to prepare for what will be an inevitable slowdown in 2021. And today we're joined by Amy Shields from Sprift, Bob Scarr from Callwell, Andy Solomon from Yomdel, Jamie Cook from iamsold, Bradley from SMS, and Richard Megson from ASP. So welcome everyone, we'll give us a big wave. Lovely.
Hello, okay. Hello.
Good stuff. So what I'd like us to do is, Bob, you are the best well-known estate agent in this room. You've been through a few slowdowns. What did you do when you were a lad as an estate agent to prepare for slowdowns?
I've certainly been through more Januaries than most people on this call. January is going to be tough anyway. It nearly always is, because just at the moment when your cash is at its lowest, or your incoming cash is at its lowest, your outgoing cash in terms of staff and marketing is probably at one of its highest points in the year. So January, beginning part of a new year, is always tough. Heaven knows what this winter's got in store for us. And so the only two things I would do, I would be prepared, I would be expecting the unexpected. So I would have a plan, a written down plan, perhaps only for my own benefit, and not a long thesis, just a series of action points of the things that I will do under each of the various scenarios that we might enter into. As I say, not some great thesis, just some action points. Always better to think about these things when you've got the time, rather than when you've got the panic right upon you. And then the second thing I'd do, and this might strike you as flipping obvious, but I've been surprised this last 4 or 5 years how few people really do this. A proper, accurate cash flow forecast. Forget reading books about such things, just a simple spreadsheet on the basis of your pipeline, on the basis of your stock, what your income cash is likely to be. Don't forget your VAT bill, don't forget your corporation tax bill, all those things, but particularly look at all of your expenditure lines, because every business, however big or small, has always had something sneak in that everybody's forgotten about. And one of the things I would have certainly have done at lockdown, if I'd have been a small estate agent at that point, I'd have cancelled all my standing orders on day one, because on the basis that way I'll be forced to look at everything I've got, because the suppliers that ring me up and complain about the fact that you've cancelled my standing order, maybe I wouldn't have cancelled the gas bill, but you know what I mean, the suppliers otherwise, it forces me to rethink the decision about whether or not I want to carry on with that service or not. So prepare, expect the unexpected, and have a proper cash flow forecast that you, the business owner, understand.
Bradley.
Picking up from what Bob said, it's also important to remember that life does go on. People get married, they divorce, they downsize because of retirement, they split up, all of those sort of things. So cultivate the longer term relationships with the people that you've had. Remember the value of your data. Remember to keep in contact and periodically update. It's easy to take quick cash on quick wins for one-off clients, but you want to also have your longer term relationships and reduce your costs through technological efficiency.
Okay, Jamie?
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, I mean, there was a very cautious approach there from Bob. I'd throw a bit of cautious optimism into the equation as well. Invest in your brand locally if you can. Make sure you're known in your area for delivering results, for delivering service. People know what you're about. Look at the services that you're offering. Ensure that you've got auction, that you've got reservation agreements, whatever it is that you want to complete your set, so you've got more ways to win in what might be a challenging market. But if we talk it up to be inevitably slow, as the question was phrased, then that creates problems. Have a bit more optimism, but approach it with caution.
Okay, Andy?
Well, it's back to the old adage, isn't it, about planning for the worst and hoping for the best. We have just experienced the mother of all slowdowns. In fact, we've come to a grinding halt. Every single business has had the opportunity to review how they're set up, how they operate. They've had the opportunity to review all of their cost base, all of their operating procedures, how to drive efficiency. Don't give up on that now. Look to reinforce that. Look to reinforce your digital transformation, because that's one way that you're going to save an awful lot of money in your business to keep things ticking over, doing things cheaper, more efficiently, faster, but also look to where the human touch needs to be maintained. And to your point, Jamie, and everyone, keeping in touch with people, going over and above, because the people you're going to be dealing with are often going to be people that have problems, and they need reliable partners to help them through that.
Okay, Amy or Richard, have you got anything to add? Amy first.
Yeah, sure. I think just thinking back to, you know, my 16 years of kind of being an instruction taker and working through a recession, coming out the other side, then hitting hard times again. For me, it's all about being proactive as much as you can during the busy times. So as much as you're still busy, you need to be thinking about the hard time that is coming, because estate agents, as we know, just goes around in a big circle. You know, there's just highs, lows, highs, lows, highs, lows. So speaking to a lot of our clients at the moment and a lot of agents, you know, prospecting is still really, really important. Jamie mentioned it, being the kind of known agent in your area, building your personal brand underneath your company's brand. But social media now is bigger than it ever has been with agencies. So you need to be becoming known as the go-to estate agent in your village, your town, your city. You know, getting the word out that you are the go-to agent, so that when times do hit tough again, whether that be January, March, you know, who knows when, but we know it's going to happen, you are the agent to go to. But prospecting, I think, is really important. And I think Bradley said as well, it sounds awful, but focus on the 3 Ds, you know, the deaths, divorces, debt, you know, they are the staple diet of an estate agent, and focusing on the right clients.
Richard.
I mean, people are talking about a downturn, but I mean, in terms of what's happened the last 6 weeks, I don't think anybody would have predicted the level of activity. So there may be a downturn, who knows, but I would be focusing on market share. And just to reiterate what Andy said, you know, there's business to go after, but don't forget what you've learned over COVID and the processes you've put in place. Continue with those, because while everybody's so busy, it's easy to forget and potentially fall back into old habits, which I would strongly advise against.
Okay, Bradley.
COVID also showed us the power of the local brand, picking up from what Amy and Andy have said, and that people will be loyal to their local people when times get tough. So utilize the technology, the social media, the responses to engage your local community, perhaps even beyond just, you know, the estate agency role, to establish yourself, because that loyalty will come back and put money in your
You're right. Interestingly, I've been writing an article at the moment how in recessions, a lot of firms actually reduce their marketing, which means that those that remain have a greater share of voice, you know, of it going around. Did you see that, Bob, that in the last recession, that some estate agents really cut back on their marketing, and that allowed the others just, you know, that kept spending to have an even bigger impact?
Well, the last big recession, 2007, 2008, everybody stopped doing everything. So it's difficult to discern exactly what was going on. It's certainly true that where I was working at that time, we were far more cost effective in our marketing spend because of our scale and size. And we therefore we were able to be a bit more speculative than perhaps some other people would have been. Your point, but anyway, your point is well made. That and going back to the point I was making about if you've got a plan in your head that's prepared for every eventuality, and if you've got a proper cash flow forecast in your head or on a piece of paper, it allows you to make informed judgments about speculation. If you've got a proper plan, you know exactly how much headroom you've got on your cash, so that if you've got a war chest, you might call it. If you're a business that's taken a bounce back loan, for example, and hasn't yet spent any of it, has sensibly put it away somewhere, you might decide that that is your war chest. And actually at the first sign of what you're talking about, Christopher, you'd start investing that in marketing.
There you go, boys and girls. Lots of learnt there. Richard, we've run out of time. We'll see you on the next video, my friend. Great learnings there, boys and girls. You, as Bob says, work out what money's coming in and out. And if you've got any left, do spend it, because your competitors won't be. You'll have a greater share of voice, which will then enable you for your voice to be heard by a lot more people. As Amy said, get yourself out there, be the local property expert. Google, there's some guy called Chris Watkin that's done some videos on creating local property market reports. It doesn't cost anything to do. And to be honest, you know, and I tell you exactly how to do it, and you just chuck it out in Facebook groups and people will love you, thousands of people. So thank you, everyone. Say goodbye to everyone, and we'll see you on the next ICG video.
Yes, bye.
Bye.